Professor Shimon says this gray material chemically is exactly the same as another gray material that we found where? Inside of Hezekiah's tunnel in the city of David. Which means we have an exact, direct link and connection chemically between the materials used to build this wall and unique materials that were built into the Hezekiah's tunnel. And Hezekiah's tunnel, we know exactly when that's from because there was an inscription that was found there which tells us the story exactly. Gives us a date almost exactly. So this wall and that tunnel are directly related, which means this is the answer to our first question. This is the extent of the old city walls in their first expansion westward at the hands of Hezekiah in the year 701 before the Common Era. Now it's amazing to realize it almost always happens that the walls of the city traverse the same general path in different generations of the city's existence, in different kingdoms that come here to rule. Every kingdom will build their own walls. And we have that here very clearly with this wall here. This wall is the Ottoman city wall. This is that 500-year-old wall that we laugh at and we say, this is the new kid on the block. The people that we could hear above are actually walking on top of this wall. The ramparts walk are on the walls of the old city. And as you walked up here, you saw this was the wall of the old city. So this is that 500-year-old wall. Look how close these two walls are. 2,700 years ago, 500 years ago, the exact same path. But it gets even more exciting as we continue on over here. Because even more than Hezekiah's wall, we are searching for remnants of Herod's palace. And we found them in a big way. As we saw outside, as we've seen elsewhere, Herod, when he wants to build a monumental, magnificent structure, he needs to create the bulwark, the foundation that will support this structure. Do you remember how tall the wall that surrounds Herod's palace is? It's 30 cubits. A cubit goes from my elbow to the top of my fingers, the tips of my fingers. This is more than a foot. We're talking about a wall of massive proportions. In order to support such a wall, you must have a very large foundation. And so I'll show you this diagram here. What we have here is the Ottoman city wall that we have just over here. And this is a view looking from the outside in. If you were standing at this very spot outside the walls, what you would see is the Ottoman city wall coming down, and at first it's coming in contact with a wall which is dated from the Hasmoneans, from the Hashmonean, from the Maccabees. Just beneath a couple of courses of stones below, you would find outside the wall something which was slapped on the outside, that was attached to the outside. This is a Herodian addition, basically just thickening that Hasmonean wall. Also inside the city wall, Herod does the very same thing. And what we're looking at here, this is the Herodian addition inside the wall to what we see down here, which is the Hasmonean wall. This is basically like the top of the Hasmonean wall. Herod thickens that wall on the inside, and also what we can't see on the outside, he thickens that wall. But Herod isn't done, because this only gives him 5 or maybe 10 meters of thickness, and he needs more than that. So this wall that you see over here, the lower, not the upper area, the lower area of the wall, this is the inside of a Hasmonean wall, of a Herodian wall. Herod never thought you would see this wall. If he had thought that you would see this wall, or anyone would see this wall, he would have had those beautiful, massive Herodian stones, very well appointed, with the frame that goes around the outside, very smooth area inside the frame. These are field stones. This is not to Herod's standards, because Herod didn't think you were going to see this wall. He thought inside here would all be filled in with landfill, and this wall would be inside those massive foundations upon which he would build his 30 cubits tall wall. So if we're disappointed and don't find Herod's palace, we don't find the gold and silver and bronze, we don't find the marble, at least we see the massive foundations that he would have built here. And furthermore, this gives us the connection between the grassy area of the Armenian quarter where we found the podium, and inside the tower, in the courtyard of the Tower of David where we saw the podium, and this area in between. Now we have a very, very clear picture that Herod's palace is just as Josephus described it. Almost a bit over 300 meters in length. That's like 1,000 feet. About 150 meters in width. Because we do have some other excavations, very, very elementary excavations in the Armenian Quarter, which we can't dig too much deeper because many of them are Armenian Christian holy places that we can't dig into their churches too much. But